Done. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Apparently my mic settings got all messed up somehow. So we are back in and going. This is just sort of an ad hoc stream. I was planning on doing some coding tonight and working through a project that I had started on stream before. So I figured I would go through and just live stream the updates to it. So if anyone has any questions, there was a video that got posted. I'm going to grab the link here in just a second. Showing building out subtitles for this stream using Azure Cognitive Services. So if people are interested, the link to the project is there, and let's see here. Let me find the video for effectively part 1 of this series, as we will dub it. Copy link, please. So this is just basically going to be taking the existing WPF app that we had started and building it out a little bit more. So I'm officially on Christmas vacation, and so naturally what do I do but write more code, because that is what is awesome. So let's switch over here. So this is the app as we left it before. Apparently my chat box does not show up on the camera mode. Note to self, fix that. Okay, so let's just make sure we're all still in a working state. So app fires up, and I believe if everything works according to plan, it just starts working. All right. Okay, so we start talking. What's going on here? Why did I? Now I'm confused. There should have been a start command. Oh, there it is. So go button, and we should be going, I think. Maybe. There we go. And that shows up there, and then streams there. Text at the bottom, and away we go. Sweet, and it's intelligent enough to know how to effectively parse that out and build it out. So for those people who missed it before, what this app is doing is on the right hand side we effectively have a list of the text that's going to be displayed. Azure, I should say the SDK that we're using to interact with this waits for either a pause or a certain number of words. I don't recall which. We probably need to configure it. I'm noticing it's letting me go way too long. Yeah. And so it'll build up this list and then effectively just start parsing through it one line at a time, because it knows roughly how much space it has. And so you can see sort of the delay between when it updates a backing file that Streamlabs is watching and when it actually shows up on the screen. So lots of stuff to update, because I want to get this app actually into a usable state so that I can keep using it on this stream. So half of this stream will have subtitles and the other half won't. So, and we will go from there. So I think there's a few things that I want to deal with initially, and some of it is just the GUI of this to make this prettier to work with. And then there's probably some configuration stuff, and I know I've got a lot of sort of to-dos and things hanging out around here. So, because they've got all of these event handlers that we didn't handle before and all of that jazz. So the recognizing stuff, let's pop that open here real quick. Yeah. So this gets kind of interesting, because this could theoretically show up stuff a lot quicker. And this might be what we want to do, is start including this text so that we can display it as soon as we hit the maximum length, rather than waiting for a large block of text to start flowing through. Because as you can see, this as recognizing is pretty much filling out almost word for word as it goes across. And so there might be a little bit of figuring out what is the proper way to handle this, because again, it can keep going. There's I think a limit. So let's start with that maybe. So, and this is going to be a little bit of plain, because I don't actually know what is needed here. So let's start with picking on this. I think there was something about Get property, requested word level timestamps. Interesting. Let's see, set proxy. What are my options here? Oh, this is, no, that's not what I want. Cool, but not what I'm looking for here. Let's see. Let's see, property, cancellation reason. I am wondering about, so let's take a look at this. Is there anything on here? Because I'd like to know when a result changes. Speech recognition result. Duration offset result ID. So I'm sort of curious if I get a different ID, because it would be kind of nice to use this, right? So let's see here. So let's just do bing bing. Slap that guy in. Away we go. And let's fire this off, because if all of the effectively individual events come with IDs, then that gives us a nice easy way of knowing which ones, nope, these are definitely randomly generated GUIDs. So let's just catch it here on the next one. Okay, so output window, be visible, please. Thanks. So what do we have? Do we have anything? Because I'm sort of trying to avoid doing just a text-based search to know if I need to do more. So what are in the properties? Non-public members. I don't mind about looking through these. Not a lot of stuff. Nope. Let's see. So result ID. I almost just need to grab the previous text and the duration and just make the assumption that if the previous text matches and the duration is longer, that this is a new thing, right? Because the result ID is clearly different on each pass. And there's nothing else really in here telling me when this is done, right? Because ultimately all I'm interested in is picking up this text until it hits the end. So let's figure out how we're going to do this. So recognize. So this guy broke it into lines. This guy figured out how to break the individual text into lines. So I kind of feel like we just run to the end. So subtitle line add. This goes into here. Sorry, I'm just trying to remind myself of how this worked again. And then something was pulling it off. Adds to lines. Write subtitles. So that's how it's working. Oh. That's a problem. So one, got a threading problem to begin with. So let's just fix that. Let's fix that right away. Okay, so subtitle lines there. Lock on it. If there are any, this guy here must be just in a task. Yeah, so he's in a long-running task, which is effectively, or I should say probably a new thread. Okay, I need to start setting my drinks down on the right-hand side. I am right-handed. Okay. So the question comes, how can we break this up nicely? Because ultimately what we're looking to do is this logic here, right? Where we write stuff to the disk and we effectively just queue it up. And so in here, rather than breaking this up, what I want to grab is the new text and verify that the new text is longer than the last bit of text, right? Because I effectively just want to start adding, because this thing just keeps growing and growing and growing. Though I am noticing something. It changes. Yuck. So I can't really rely too much on the last word or possibly words. Because you'll notice it's switched up several times as it was figuring out what it was doing. And so it'll go back and change prior words. So maybe we can't really realistically use this. Let's see, E dot result, what's on here? Offset and ticks. Okay. Result reason, that was a to-do we had here. Recognizing keyword, recognizing speech. Got it. So it's not really helpful. What I'd really like to do is configure this guy so that it was, let's start with this. Speech config, right? Because it'd be nice to tell it to stop, because I know there's a timeout, and I'd like to be able to control that. Enable dictation. Only supported in speech continuous recognition. Isn't that what we want? I feel like this is what I want, right? Enable dictation, what's that going to do? So what is there? Start continuous recognition, which is what we've got. Start, stop, dispose. So there's nothing really here. Speech start detected, speech end detected. I kind of want to wire up the rest of these events for no other reason other than to log some output for them. So let's filter real quick. Session started. Session started, great. So we're gonna debug some of these things because I don't actually know this API well enough to quite know what it's going to do. Let's see. We're prefixing everything this way. Session started. Session ID. Okay, we'll see what that ends up doing. Let's see here. What do you convert method group to lambda? I don't understand why it's suggesting that. Okay, it's an option. I feel like that I'll have to find the setting to turn that down. I don't want that showing up that much. Okay, session started, session stopped. Great. So basically this guy here. So I'm sort of curious what that enable dictation is going to do. Oh, dang it. Control C and Control V are very close to each other, which is always unfortunate. Let's see, session stopped, and what is actually on this? Session ID again, great. Makes it easy. I can write the right line for that. Speech started detected. Because what I'd really like to know is the difference of when it's giving me new stuff, or when I can determine that it's done changing things, honestly. Speech start detected. That's just a session ID. Sure. That sounds great. Speech start detected. I'll just do the offset for fun because I don't really know what I'm expecting to get from that. Recognizer, speech end, create method, great. I'm guessing you're going to be basically the same information, right? Let's see here, speech end. Yep, basically the exact same stuff. And I kind of wonder if the toString on these guys will actually do something useful too. Look at that. So much easier. No thinking involved, all right? Just let the toString method do what the toString method wants. Great. Okay, so it is worth noting that this is technically different than explicitly calling toString. It calls the string conversion operator, which in most cases is going to invoke toString, but not guaranteed. Let's see here. So let's do cancel to. Just because I want to see if we're ever hitting this. So create method, canceled. So what is actually on you? Error code, error details, reason, cancellation reason. Oh, look at this. Debug, right line. We'll just let. This guy's got a toString on him as well, so we'll just let it go. Yeah. So let's fire that off and see what that gets us. Because again, I'd really like to get it to the point where I have enough information so that I can push this stuff up right away. Because subtitles that delay behind by 30 seconds are kind of sucky. So let's see. Go. Testing. So we've got a session started, which makes sense. We've got a bunch of stuff coming in through the middle. Yeah, so that's not quite what we want. So it's really only, the session start is only coming through once, and then we've got a whole bunch of recognition stuff coming through, which isn't really what we want. Yeah, you'll notice it started off with she said, she isn't, she doesn't, and then it goes back and corrects, which is great. It just means that there's a trade-off, right? And I don't want to just stop when I get enough text and start dumping that out, because that's probably not what I want. I wish I'd capitalize this I too. Yeah, that would be a nice. Hey, wait a minute. Oh, it does it on the final result. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, because these are just showing the intermediate results. Okay, so another reason not to take it. Dang it. Is there a way I can tell it I'm done? Right? Like force it to recognize. Speech recognized. Let's. Signals that the final recognition result is retrieved. I wish there was a way to control this. Do async recognition. I want a way to control how long this thing runs. Okay, where recognizer. Just hoping that there's something on here that gives me some level of control. Recognizer. Because ultimately the client's what has to be determining what the max length time is, right? And I'd like it to push through sooner rather than waiting for as long as it goes. Start continuous. So let's look at the transcribe, right? Stop transcribing. Wait, what? Stop transcribing exists but not start? No. I know we just saw this. Let's kill this, kill this. Let's see. Enable dictation, so that's just a property. Request word level timestamps. Enable audio logging. Let's look at these guys. There's got to be speech region, token type, endpoint, host. Yeah, there's got to be something around here. Voice features, intent. Record mode, interactive, conversation, dictate. The SDK uses it internally. Okay. Kind of want to find usages of this guy, so we're just going to mark him. So one of my favorite features is these bookmarks for when you're digging through code and you realize, oh shoot, I want to come back to that later. Control KK is the default keyboard shortcut. Enable silence timeout. Yeah, this is what I want. That. Initial silence timeout. Yeah, I want to control these. Enable audio logging. Great. Profanity filter, don't really care. Output format. Request stable partial result. Oh, this could be nice if the partial result was stable. I'm guessing this means it only sends back when it's confident of what it's actually transcribed. Great. Audio input received by the SDK in the moment. Okay, maybe. Speech log file name, dialog type, from ID. Okay, so let's go back through some of these. So record mode. Who plays with this guy? Show me usages. Interesting. Not set directly. Okay. End silence timeout. Initial silence timeout. Okay. Represent for stabilizing. Let's try turning this on real quick, right? So config set property. Let's see, property ID. Boom. And it wants a bool, I believe is what it said. So how about bool true string maybe? Changes made. Oh, fine, we got to recover. Because I'm curious, if this has the recognizing bits then be stable, that might make them useful for showing the subtitles. Okay, so here we go again. Let's see what this actually gives us. Okay, that's a little bit better. That means that it is actually going through and doing changes. I want this to work. There is still a difference in, like, I'm noticing the capitalization and a few things there that aren't quite the same. Okay, that doesn't quite give me what I want. It does mean that, yeah, it's still changing some of the stuff on the end, so it doesn't work the way I would expect. It can be interactive, conversation, dictation. So let's, real quick, when we config enable dictation, is that just setting that property? Is that all that's doing? Yeah, so it's just setting this to dictation. So we can actually change this up, right? It can be interactive or dictation. We know dictation didn't quite give us what we wanted. I don't know what it defaults to. That might be a fun one to play with. End silence timeout. Milliseconds. I thought... Let's just real quick look for max because... speech service... Word level timestamps. Has to be in partial results to be returned. Ah, that's what okay. That's a little different. So I don't think we want the partial. Allowed values are true text. Okay. That's not a lot of options. Specifying whether to include word level timestamps in the response result. Okay, I don't know if that's really what I'm after. Let's see, a string value specifying the output format. Kind of just want to look at the timestamps because what I'm looking for is the timestamp for how long it needs. Because there is a max length. At a certain point, it'll just say, I've got enough audio, I'm shipping this up, right? Recognition latency milliseconds. Input is received by this DK and the final result is received from the service. Okay, I don't really care about that. Silence timeout for listening. Right, so we could change the silence timeout. So this is PTS, as it's known in the video community. Conversation transcribe service. So I'm wondering if, okay, so hypothetical here real quick, right? Let's see, navigate object browser. Because I'm wondering if there's a different config in here. Vanity options, properties. This is old speech. I sort of wonder if I change that over to detailed what I get. I don't know what the default is. Speech synthesis result. Word level timing result. Phraseless grammar. Got it. Not exactly what I'm looking for. That's all that's in here. Oh, wait. Transcription. Conversation. Transcribed. I'm wondering if this might be more interesting. Start transcribing. Join conversation. Oh, this is interesting. What's in an audio config? From default microphone input, from string. Okay. I could get on board with this because this could be interesting for the cases where I'm streaming with somebody else. Okay, transcribed. Let's see here. Is there an easy way to just jump straight? No. Nope, not even close. Back. What I want is conversation transcription event args. Boom. An event, results here, user ID. Wait, what? How does... Just says who is speaking, not what was said. Conversation, transcription, event args. Let's see, add participants, conversation, remove participants. Do you derive from, you derive from, okay. Got it. So you derive from Recognizer, which is going to have the same type of stuff on there. Not quite what we were looking for. Speech dialogue. Not quite what we're hunting for. Internal stuff. Intent. Not quite what we want. But I'm really disappointed that this doesn't have a little more detail here. Maybe the expectation is you use these in conjunction with speech. Output format. Doesn't seem like there's that much useful stuff for what I want. Speech recognition result extensions best. What does this do? Returns the best possible recognitions for the result if the recognizer was created with detailed output format. Oh! Okay, so let's give that a try. So let's see. So is it in the config where I set output format? Yeah, let's go detailed. All right, and let's just see what comes through from this. Because if this will give me more information, maybe we can then use that. So, okay, that's nice and wonderful. I'm wondering if there's more information inside of this guy that I'm missing. So what else is on you? Recognition results. So reason ID, text. What was this best thing on? Speech recognition result best. Okay, so that must mean that there's extra stuff in maybe the properties. Let's see. E.result best. First or default, right? Let's see. F9 var best result, because I assume these things would be ordered. I would hope, maybe, possibly. And what are you? Best result, confidence, lexical form. Oh wow. Oh wow. So there's a lot here. Okay, so I kind of want to grab it here, and then I kind of want to grab it here. And I just kind of want to let this thing run for a second and then set some breakpoints and see what's exactly on these guys. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get this guy running and then see, let's grab it here first. So let's see. Text, normalized form, mass normalized form, lexical form, fairly confident. Okay, so that got me that. And where did it come from? I guess is my first thought, because that was let's see, state for. I'm a little curious where this is coming from, right? There's all this magical pointery stuff hiding in here. SPX factory, what the heck? Why do we have so much stuff? So it's marshalling, okay? So that doesn't leave me with a lot of warm fuzzies, because this guy clearly has, ooh, recognize text. So hold on. Let's see, immediate window. Need a toString. Let's take a look at this guy real quick. So that has a bunch of data on it. So what's the difference between this and this? Nothing. So I am mildly curious how many to list. How many are there? Oh wow. Okay, let's look at the next one. And then let's see, so it's slightly less confident about that. Oh wow, so it's actually sending back quite a bit of data. Okay, so let's let it run. So what did this guy come back as? Null. So I kind of want to break here. Well, let's do this real quick. So if best results not null, let's take a quick look at what's actually in here, right? Because I'm curious if this can only be used on the final result or on the intermediate results, because that would be more interesting. And it's looking like it's only available on the final result. Bummer. Okay, so I really want to just figure out how I can turn this thing down. So I don't know if I actually care to get the detailed output. We're going to leave it on for now. Stable partial result. I don't know if this makes a big difference. So let's look at the other properties we can set. So property ID. Speech session ID. Speech service. Initial silence timeout. Language understanding region, great. Initial silence. The initial silence timeout value in milliseconds. Record mode. Let's see. So let's do, we've already tried dictation. Let's try interactive. All right. And let's see if this changes up anything. Ooh, exception with an error code. Okay. The exception was originally thrown at this call stack. Switch mode not allowed. Okay. So apparently setting this. Well, we know enable dictation worked, right? So let's Just make darn sure I didn't. Yeah, so that. Okay. We know dictation should work, so let's try conversation. I'm guessing that this is probably going to throw the same exception. Only because we saw that conversation API. Oh, maybe not. Conversation API. Well, it does seem to be a little quicker, I guess, but if I keep going, I can probably just get this thing to block up. Well. So how are we going to go about this? So this doesn't appear to give us quite what we need. So back to the drawing board. Synth output, synth voice. End silence timeout. So if we set the end silence timeout in milliseconds, I'm guessing it wants, well, set property takes a string. So let's set it to something insane, like 10. And see if just the mild pauses, if that'll be good enough. Because this might get us all the way to what we want. Wow, that seems a little too fast. Okay, so clearly that's working. It's just not the way, quite what we want. And it would be nice if it would. I suppose what we could do is we could watch the other one and then just simply lower the timeout. Well, you can't. It doesn't allow you to change it mid-flight. Okay, I wonder. Does this have a get property? I'm curious what the default is. Get property. So what do you default to? I'm sort of curious what this is. Before I get to it, right? Because I'm changing it. So what exactly is this value? If we fire this up, default is empty string. Not helpful. Not helpful. Enable audio login. Let's see, so we set initial silence value. To request stable partial results by omitting words in the end. JSON results. Yeah, I'm guessing it has to be one of these speech ones. Those problems should be used by the service. Any filter, true, false, detailed. Detailed result. So you probably don't need to set this because our output mode is probably turning that on. Specify whether audio logging is enabled in the service. And silence timeout. Synth voice, synth language, speech session ID, language intent region. Alright, we already set those. Translation voice. Bunch of proxies, endpoints, token, authorization types. Well, it doesn't look like there's a good option. So, short version is 100's too fast. Let's bump it up to 200. So I'm a little less concerned about, do I care about grabbing it? I can't decide if I like the idea of just grabbing it mid-flight, like this, and not letting it go through and deal with sentence breaks. See, that's the other problem, is setting this clearly messes it up. Okay, I've decided I don't care that much. I care a little bit. Let's turn it up. I don't like this already. Really don't like this. Okay, so let's see how that does. That seems like it might be a better. I feel like it seems like it's missing words in the moment where it switches between waiting for the pause and starting back up again. Like there's a little bit of a break in the middle. Yeah. Okay, fine. Turn it off. Turn it off. Not going to deal with it. Not going to deal with it. Okay. So the question now becomes, am I okay with doing this with the partial results, right? Because I do still have the where is it? Recognize canceled and session started. This guy here, right? Recognizing event handler. So there is the concept of being able to utilize that. The problem being is that there's not a great way of breaking it into its component parts. Yuck, 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 yuck. I'm glad to know it was able to figure that one out. And I like the formatting. Okay, fine. I'm just going to give up on this for now. Okay, back to what I was initially planning on doing with all of this, is actually getting this to the point where we can use it. Right? Because this is very much tied to the end. So, let's go through and maybe pretty this up and get this into something that I can actually use in a reasonable manner. So, this is only here for the, right, because if we drop the reference, it goes away. Okay. Okay. So let's start making this a little bit more production ready. Or at least my definition, production ready. So step one, it looks ugly. So material design to the rescue. Okay, so we're just going to grab this. I'm tolerant to pre-releases, so we're just going to grab this. And this guy should work. There is a bug in the Material Design 3.0 release, be aware, where it doesn't properly pull in the colors library. And so you'll get a crash saying, hey, couldn't find it, don't know what to do. So yeah, the fix is to either grab the latest pre-release or manually install the colors library. Those are the two choices. Okay, so wiki page, getting started. We're just going to come down here and grab some stuff. So this sounds good. This sounds good. Great, great, great. So on my app.xaml, actually I guess I could just copy the whole resource dictionary line, couldn't I? Let's just do that rather than typing. So go ahead, auto code there. I think I'm going to go dark theme on this. And I think the primary color of like a teal, maybe. And a secondary color of purple. Might look a little nicer, I think. That's kind of closer to how I have Streamlabs set up anyway. So maybe something akin to that. Okay, so next thing we need, let's see. This guy down here, come down here. We probably just want to pick up all of this stuff for the window, right? So we come down here and main window, boom. Right? So there's all of that. Relaunch, be pretty. Oh, okay. So that error there was saying it couldn't find the, dang nabbit. I think I just exposed my key again. Well, getting really good at cycling these keys. Uno moment. Secrets. Turn that off. Let's see. Regen key. Yes, please. Copy. Let's see here. Paste the new key in. At some point I'm going to stop encoding it right here and actually put it in my environment variable so that stops happening. That would be great if it would stop doing that. Let's see, turn that off, turn that off. Okay, back to coding mode. It is interesting, it's also not clearing this file. I should fix that. That's why the subtitle's stuck at the bottom. So for those people who think it's broken, nope, it's just because this isn't working correctly. So let's first fix this. So whenever you edit something in the property GUI in Visual Studio, it likes to do this because that GUI was written before this SDK project stuff was around. It hasn't fully been updated because most of the time when I see this configuration pipe platform in here, it was a mistake, and what you really meant to do is apply it to all configurations on all platforms, right? So in this case, that's what we want. 3.1. This guy is unhappy because apparently when you download the pre-release of the managed NuGet packages, that's what we're after. When you download the pre-release of this guy, it doesn't material design themes. This guy here, show me 301. Interesting. So it thinks that it wants 122. Huh. Now I'm trying to decide if I like that or not. I know why. So the reason why it's happening is because in the Azure pipeline that compiles these libraries, these have both been revved to the next version. The thing is, this guy, there is no changes in the colors library that this thing needs. It's only squawking because of the version bit. Interesting. I don't know if there's a great solution. Aside from making my build system smart about what changes went into it. Don't know if I like that. Yeah, yuck, whatever. Okay. We'll just make it work. Auto-referencing the version that it wants, we'll get around the problem. Okay. So that gets us going. We hit start. We got to get some indication of whether we're running or not because this is getting obnoxious. All right. Okay. So text is there. This is going. Cool. I mean, that gets us closer. Little bit closer. Okay. And so let's go back over here. So this guy here, step 1. This needs to be a toggle button, right? because I don't want it to just be starts always. I want it to be start, then stop, and I want it to change accordingly. So step 1, we're going to stylize this guy out. So, whoa. Toggle button, style. Let's see, style, target type, toggle button, based on static resource, X type, toggle button. Okay, so this is probably one of the most common things I see happen when people use a theming library, is they'll set a style, they'll forget to set the based on, and your new style will override everything from the theme library. So this just says base this style. Think of polymorphism with a base class. On the style whose key is toggle button, i.e. the implicit style for toggle button, which is what we want here. So we are going to do a setter, and I cannot type. Setter, property, content, value, start, right? Okay, and so we're going to take this guy out. There is a reason why I'm doing this, because we're going to set up a trigger here in a minute. Setter, property, command, value, binding, start command. Okay, so now you are meaningless. Okay, I think that gets us a little bit closer. Okay, now let's see, style, triggers, data trigger, binding. And this is where I want to go and check our view model. Did we expose this? We did not. Public, please. Binding, recognizer, right? So then we're going to take these styles here, put them here. So we're going to compare this value against null. And then for the not null case, we're going to set it up here. So something like stop command. So basically toggling the presence of the recognizer property is going to change up what this button says, which I think is close to what we want. I'm a big fan of this. So there's a couple things we gotta clean this guy up a little bit. So let's see here. Private speech recognizer. Okay, man, I cannot type tonight. I think it's my keyboard. I'd like to blame the keyboard. It's probably me. Here, we'll fix the problem. Mountain Dew. There. Problem solved. Okay, so let's do recognizer there. And do we have... Yes, we do have material design set up. So, but I think what I want... So if set ref recognizer and value. So if the value changes, we're going to do some fun stuff. So var original value. So grab the value. If we get a new value, we'll clean this guy up. So original value, no propagation, and dispose. Right. So if somebody swaps out the value on us, we'll go ahead and clean that guy up. Great. So I think this guy becomes recognizer dispose. Actually, what am I saying? Recognizer gets null, right? Just null it out. We've got null checks turned on, and we want null to be a valid value. Right, because we want to be able to let this thing start as null and then change to null. That guy needs to be null too. Okay, so that handles that. That somewhat cleans up our start-stop operations. At some point we got to deal with this guy. I don't know if I was... I call those event handlers. Split text based on length. This doesn't matter. We're already splitting the text based on length. This has a font size. probably want to clean some of this stuff up. All right? Because this font here is not the font inside of the app. This is the font used by Streamlabs to render it at the bottom there. So that matters. Let's see. To do. Don't put a space at the beginning. Oh, so we are prefixing it. Yuck. Is this really that hard to do? If index greater than 0. Don't know why we didn't do that to begin with. Okay. There. Space problem solved. Okay, so that handles that. That handles that. We can now start stop. We got a little bit better display. I think I kind of want to show... I think I want to show this in process stuff, right? So let's see, what do we got? What do we got for layout over here? So scroll viewer with an items control. Okay. 2 rows. I'm wondering if maybe we do something a little more interesting here, right? Where we show the text that's being processed on the fly. Let's see, so you guys here, and let's see, grid, row definitions. So maybe the first row, fill all the space, next row, height auto, and I think what I'm going to do, text block, text, binding, current text. Because really what I want to do is when we're showing these subtitles here, I want something to show basically the same information from the output window. I want to be able to go through and grab this sort of transient text, or what do they call it here? So from the cognitive stuff, recognize text, recognition text. Naming things is hard. Well, recognized text has the wrong implication. It makes it sound like it's already been parsed. I think what we do is leave it for the moment. Come back to it. Let's see. Grid row 1. Grid. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to set an opacity here, just so that it shows a little bit more faded out. And then text wrapping, wrap. All right, because we want this as it gets bigger to grow. How about pending text? Don't love it, but I like it more than what I was thinking of before. So let's see here. So private string pending text. Okay, you know what? I should really just go and get my templates for this, or write it real quick. Public string pending text. And then set, we'll call into the MVVM light set method so that it handles raising a notified property changed for me. Thanks. Let that guy go, let that guy go. Okay, so there's pending text. I think what we're going to come down here is we're going to just get rid of this because I don't think I need it. And I'm going to set pending text to e dot result text. Yeah. That way we can see it as it goes. Okay, let's see how this looks. Okay, so some text. Oh, ooh, yuck. Ooh, we got to fix this. I forgot that the default button is to actually go through and show as a toggle switch. We'll change that. But this is at least showing stuff on the fly, so you get some sort of progress indicator. Not sure I like, okay, so a couple things we're going to change real quick. So scroll viewer, vertical scroll bar visibility auto, right? So hide the scroll. We don't, the odds of this thing filling all the way up to where we need a scroll viewer are pretty low, right? So let's go grab the material design demo app. Woo, woo, holy cow. Do not middle click that fast. Okay, so back up. Way too many things open. Way too many things. I think I middle clicked on something and got all the stuff, which was clearly not what we were after. So what we are interested in is a more beautiful version of, and ignore the font on this. This is a halfway bit where I was playing with font stuff. But what we're interested in is toggle buttons. So buttons with progress, pop-up box. Where are the toggle button styles? Flat light. There is a no ripple, repeat button. Oh, come on. There's a default toggle button. Let's see. It must be under toggles, maybe. Let's see. Toggles. Do we not have a sample of it? Well, that's bad. Let's just click this button and go straight up here. Let's see. Action toggle button, right? This looks like what I want. Let's see. So I think action toggle button is exactly what I want. So this guy. So you, keep you around for a moment. Might need you later. So rather than basing it on the default one, we're going to base it on this one. And nope, that ain't it. Maybe we don't have one. So let's just go through this real quick. Switch toggle button, flat primary toggle button. What's this one? What's this one do? Paste. Not quite what I was looking for. The good news is it looks like start and stop work. On stop, we should probably clear this though. So let's fix that real quick. So on stop, we should pending text should get nulled out so that it doesn't just hang there. And displayed line, I'm going to leave untouched only because that background thread will go through and clean it up. So where were we? Let's go back here. Switch toggle button. We don't want the switch. Let's see. I really just want a button. Oh. Okay. I'm an idiot. I really just want a button, right? Right. So let's change this guy here to X type button. Target type button. And then you become button and relaunch. So I think that probably confused it. There. That's start, stop. We should probably set a minimum width on this or something. Right? Well, that ain't bad. Feels a little choppy. Like this, and that is not. Let's turn you down a little bit more, because that's not obviously faded. Man, I could even go lower. I think it's just the dark theme with the white text on top of it. Makes it really, really obvious. I'm wondering if we change up the font size of these guys in here. Let's see. Text element font size, and what is this set to? So 14 is the default. Let's make you a little bigger. Wonder if that, so that makes it a little nicer, right? There, that's at least displaying something reasonable. Okay, I think what we do is we add just a wee bit of margin around this guy. So don't care about the left and the right, probably about like, I don't know, 7 or 8 on the vertical, just so that as it goes all the way across, that button doesn't get the text just sitting right on top of it. And I kind of almost want to set a little, I might actually even set, so let's just do 8 on the top to separate it from the scroll viewer right above it. And then let's do like 4 and 8 here, right? Just to get it off of the edges, because there's something to be said about not having it sit right on top of the edges. Because I think this guy here, what we're going to do is let's just do a margin of 8 all the way around. It's a little harder for this one to get right up on the edge, but at least then if it does, it lands a little nicer. I almost wonder too, it'd be nice if I could see the separator of where it's going to post stuff out. Oh sure, let's just do that real quick. So let's see, items control, item template. Whew. Data template, it's just a string, so I'm not going to stress too much about it. Text block. Let's see. Binding directly into it, right? So this should still look the same. Okay, so that's pretty much what we expect. But let's maybe a stack panel. Or actually, let's just wrap it in a border, I guess. All right, boom, and then border thickness, we're going to do 0 except for the bottom. We'll just throw 1 in there. Border brush, I kind of want to grab a theme brush real quick. That's something I'm wondering if maybe we should put in this tool, is something that shows all of the brushes. That might not be bad. I'm thinking maybe accent color, perhaps. Let's see here. So go back up to the top, wiki, and there is a list of the brush names. So let's grab secondary hue light. Should probably change this from accent to secondary. Let's just edit that. We're already in here. Let's see, rather than accent, secondary. So, and for anybody who plays around with the material design library, let me encourage you, if you see something in the wiki that needs editing, just go ahead and edit it. It's fine. Everyone has access. I always go back and review the changes, and it itself is a, the wikis are a Git repo. So it's not that big of a deal. If something goes wrong, I can always revert it. Okay. A little splash of purple. Little splash of purple. Not sure how well I like it, but I like it better than I don't like it. So I think we're going to go with it for now. And I think let's just do a little bit of a margin on each of these items, just to give a little bit of separation between each of them, so that there's a little bit of a separator. That looks a little nicer. Yeah. You know, maybe let's actually move this margin down. Well, no, I kind of like it there. I was just thinking that maybe get the text a little bit off the line, but I kind of like how it looks like these things are lined up nicely. Might go a little bigger, just a hair. I'm not much of a designer, but I'm going to be the one who has to look at this. Boom. So it broke it up into lines. Everything displays nicely. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I like it, I like it, I like it. Okay, so that's popping things off, pushing things on, writing the file. Great, 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 great. And we've got something down here to indicate that we're running. I almost want to put something down there while we're running. Does it matter? I mean, just talking into the mic is probably good enough, right? Maybe? Oh, I know what we'll do. I know what we'll do. I got it. I got it. I got it. Here's what we'll do. Let's see. Text block. Boom. All right. So, let's see. Style target text block based on static resource X type text block. Okay. Style triggers. Okay, so multi-data trigger dot conditions. This is just going to be way bigger than it needs to be, but why not? So binding, the first binding will be for when recognizer is null, right? So if recognizer is null, and okay, so the edit continues already giving up on this, so excellent. What are you squawking about? Oh, I didn't actually assign you correctly. Text block style. Alright, so we'll embed this guy inside of the style tag. Boom. Alright, so there's condition. So when that's null, and when the pending text is also null, it's worth knowing empty string technically would cause a problem here, but we're nulling this out inside of the view model. Oh, so we should make this nullable, right? Boom, boom. We got to turn on nullable warnings. So this guy here, I guess we should be doing that. Unless, was he forcing me to set it? No. Okay, getting a little annoyed with this. Change naming rule. Stop whining at me. It is perfectly valid. Fact, that's my preference. Okay. I know, some people will look at that and go, you're crazy. That's my preference. Deal with it. Okay, so we got that. We got that. So in the case where this trigger is true, what we will do is we will set the text value listening ... All right. Ooh, interesting. I sort of expected it to default into there. Little concerned. Oh, interesting. So we should probably have this clear out after it's been set. So let's do that real quick. So on this guy here, let's see here. So pending text goes to null. Boom. Right? So that gives us a little better there. I don't like how it's not showing up here. I anticipated needing to set something. Not working. Don't like it when it doesn't work. Don't like not knowing why. So let's take a look and see. Wait, what? Cannot find presentation source. Huh? That's interesting. Ooh. Couldn't find the current application or interesting. I know Snoop works with that's Visual Studio. Interesting. There is something up with this, and I don't know what it is. Okay. Let's see. Recognizer value null, pending text value null. So let's check here. So let's just verify that these two getters get invoked right out the gate. Because I would expect this to get called by that. Null. 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 Both of those are null. Why you know set text? Because this guy gets to win out. Got it. Actually, give me that binding back. So the reason the triggers weren't firing is they were firing just fine, but because there was an explicit property setter directly on the text property, well, that wins. Because it is closer to the element than the style. So, let's see. Setter, property, text, value, poof. Because in reality, we want this to be a not null check, right? We want to only do this when there is a recognizer and the pending text is unset. See, this is what I expected to see. Listening, listening, and then it goes to start and it goes away. Just so that there's something else there. Okay, so let's clean that up then, right? Because we want this guy to be a not null check, not an is null check. I think the easiest thing is just a value converter. I think that's true, right? So let's see. So let's just do that real quick. So add new class is null converter. Let's see. value converter implement. Boom. So we're only going to go one way. Return value is null. Great. So up here we'll go window resources is null converter. Boom. And technically we should probably do something with pending text for like is null or empty or whatever, but whatever. That I know we're nulling in the view model, so I'm less concerned about it at the moment. Boom. Okay, so is null should be false. We only want it on an instance, and then we'll do the comparison. So, no text, text, and then I start talking, and it disappears. Poof! Just like magic. Sweet. We have subtitles, and the app doesn't look horribly ugly. Okay, I think I want to set, let's do a min width on this guy of like 120 maybe. Is that a little too long? Nah, nice and big, easy to hit. That should hopefully clean that up. So, we have subtitles, and they work. Woot, woot, woot. Okay. Before we get too carried away, let's just check this in. So, stage all changes. Getting theming working. All right. This seems fine. All right. Okay, so commit, push, and away we go. Right. So, for anyone who's interested, there's the repo. Okay, so that gets us there. Now the next question is where to go from here. I'm tempted to go down the path of like unit testing. I know I've already been bad on like test-driven development and not written any, but I feel like I'm getting to the point where I want this app to be a little more functional, and I might actually keep using this. So I sort of want to add unit tests. So let's go down that path. I'm wondering, because I'd like to just keep this guy running while we unit test it, right? So we could publish. Let's just cheat real quick and we'll just copy and paste, right? So open containing folder. So if we just grab bin debug, right? So if we just grab this guy, and I'll just, run him from the root. How about remove me? That should hopefully keep me from doing something stupid like checking it in. All right? I hope. And go. Naturally, it crashes right out the gate. Well, all the more reason to have subtitles. Interesting. I'm curious what the crash is. I wouldn't have expected that to break so easily, since that was literally the same code that we were just running a second ago. So, faulting application, blah, 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 blah. Got anything useful? Throw if fail. Oh, I know why. Because it's firing up and doesn't have the key. There ain't no key set. Right? So when we do on start, first thing it does is goes and retrieves the key for this guy. So that ain't gonna work. So I can't actually launch this guy outside of it without going and setting this in my environment variables. Okay. So in the interest of speed, we're just gonna set it there. So standby. Environment. Where is it? There. That guy there. Create a new one. Variable name, paste. Variable value. I need to go and grab it real quick. Let's see here. Not you. I need you. And the properties. Edit real quick, and I'm going to be good and not expose and have to cycle my key yet again. Paste, okay, put something else on my clipboard just so that I don't accidentally expose it. And we're back. Okay, so now let's not open that window, and let's jump over here, and now we should, in theory, be able to launch, right? So launch, start. We didn't blow up right away. Okay. Now we can leave this version of the app running, and we're going to go back over here and let's see about actually unit testing this, because this is going to require a little bit of refactor. So let's see here. MS Test sounds fine. Netcore, great. Stream subtitles.tests. Great. And away we go. If other people are interested in actually like using this app and whatnot, I could be probably convinced to put it into some sort of like Squirrel installer or whatnot and distribute. So, or even maybe a .NET global tool. That might be fun. Set it up that way. That way it can go out and run. Might be fun. Might be fun. Okay, so in general with WPF, you only ever unit test things in your view model and you ignore your view, right? Because the view model is designed to be testable. The view code is an absolutely miserable nightmare to try and unit test. But in our case, we've got a couple things that are problematic. So specifically, everywhere where you see a static method call, that is problematic, because static method calls implicitly tightly couple two bits of code together, right? So this constructor is tightly coupled to the task factory and the start new method and the enable collection synchronization. And the coupling isn't always bad. If the static method is pure, it's fine. And by pure, I mean a method that you can invoke that has no side effects. So like most of your link methods are all, not most, all link methods are pure, right? They cause no side effects to the original array or list or whatever you're iterating over. But other static methods, for example these, can be quite problematic to go through and test. So we're probably going to have to do a little bit of a refactor inside of all of this and get some of this cleaned up. There's also these things that are pretty much just hard-coded. For now, let's make these private so we don't have to think about it. Okay, so let's look at what we actually unit test. So for starters, we're going to start off by renaming this guy. So unit test 1 is not really explicit, so how about main window view model tests, right? Yes, please. And we need to add a reference to our project. Great, do that. What did you, perfect, Netcore 3.1. That's what we wanted to see. Okay, so since we have that, let's start at the top. I don't know if there's anything significantly worth testing in here. This is not worth testing in my mind because it's view related and implementation detail, and this will get tested implicitly later. So we'll move on. So let's do on stop, right? So naming schemes can be whatever you want, but they really should indicate what the test is doing and the expectation in my mind. So on my stop, so on stop, values cleared, right? So we need a couple things. So I always follow the arrange act assert pattern, and in general this basically just means you have something here that let me back up. The arrange portion of the unit test is where you do all the setup you need for the test to succeed. So in this case, our view model gets new main window view model, right? So our entire setup is called the constructor. The act portion is where we invoke the thing under test. So let's see, VM stop command, execute, no parameter, right? We're just going to fire it off. And then our assertion is going to be is null. We should probably set these to something. So view recognizer, right? Assert is null, VM pending text, right? And it does, in general, some people will say that you should have only a single assert statement in a unit test. I think that's a little prescriptive. In general, I think you should assert on one logical conclusion, right? So in this case, the logical conclusion is this guy clears out all the relevant values. So VM recognizer gets new speech recognizer, speech config. How can we do this? So here's what we're going to do. We are going to just public class factory, spelling for the win, static class, right? Public static. This guy doesn't have a nice interface over him, does he? That'd be way too convenient. Or am I going to have to wrap it in one? Yeah, I kind of figured I was. A lot of times people don't wrap their stuff in interfaces. People like doing it. The problem being is then there's usually a debate about what should go on the interface. And so a lot of people just don't bother and say, wrap it in whatever interface you want, which is fine. It just means that I have to do work rather than somebody else doing work. So I think as long as we don't call start, we can get away with, you know, something like this. So from subscription region West US, right? So I think we can get away with this. We'll find out. We may have to already break down and start abstracting stuff. But that is okay. That is what we expect. So factory dot, and then nope. Move out to its own file, please. Thanks. Back. Okay, so then we will set up pending text, some text, all right, and let's just turn on live unit testing. Let's see, test, live unit testing, start. Because this thing is small enough that I don't know if it, like in general, live unit testing is supposed to handle a significant amount of stuff. But there's some projects where I just find that it either bogs stuff down or doesn't work well or whatnot. So, okay. First test passes, great. We've got lots of green arrows on stuff that's being tested now. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. It's worth noting that these green arrows are highly misleading. They only tell you that the line was invoked. So in my mind, the green checks mean nothing. It's all the blue arrows and any red X's that matter. Because just because something's executed during a unit test doesn't actually mean it was tested or even tested well. Okay, so that gives us that. So now I think we move on to the more interesting ones. I think we do, this is probably where we're going to have to start getting a little bit fancy, right? So I think what I would love to do is start with testing this getLines method, right? And I think the easiest way to test this is to take it out of the view model, because right now this is stuck here in the view model, but this can easily be moved into its own class and then unit tested directly there. So I think we're just going to start shrinking our view model, because this isn't really related to the view model stuff. This is just breaking apart some strings. What to call it though? I hate calling it something like text helper. It feels way too generic. How about line splitter? That's a little more explicit, and we'll make it static until we have a reason to change it. So step one, move everything out. Right? So you come out, you go in here, poof, and all of that jazz, and then let's see here, we need typeface and font size. Okay, so you guys go here. For now, we're just going to leave these values hard-coded because, in theory, nobody else is needing them. So this then changes to line splitter get lines, and that just works. All right. Okay, what is the red here? What are you squawking about? Cannot access private method. Well, the whole point moving it out was so we could test it. There we go. So let's add some new unit tests for it. Add new class line splitter tests. Let's see here. Test class, test method. Let's see, public void, get lines. How do we want to do this? So what do we want to test, really, right? We want to test that it splits up a long bit of text, and we want to test that it works. If we give it a short string, that it works. So I think rather than test method here, let's do this in returns lines. This feels like a data-driven test, right? Because this really is just string in, strings out. Let's see, is it data method, data test method, right? And then data row. So let's see, string line. So the first one is something like short string. Actually, you know what we should do? We should just go grab some Laura Ipsum text. Ipsum. Probably butchering the spelling. Let's see. Generator. That sounds like exactly what I want. So give me words. Give me like fitty. That'll work great. Thank you. So we're just going to put this here. So I think that's what we want. Because how do we want to do this, right? We code in the expectation of the first line, the second line, I'm starting to question whether this is a good data-driven test. I mean, because ideally what I would expected lines, right? Like ideally this is how I want to write it, with just pre-canning this. The problem being this, right? I can't actually declare it like this. What are you telling me here? More data. Yeah, because you are unhappy. Let's see. Data source, and I might have to look this guy up. Table name or row. Let's see. String table name row access method. Yuck, 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 yuck. So let's just do this, right? We'll just take this in and returns single line. So we'll just have this test be the single line case. So arrange, act, assert, because in general you want to avoid conditionals inside of your unit test. That's a recipe for disaster. String line gets found line gets line splitter, get lines. How about this becomes text? We'll make it match here. So text single, right? Because single will throw if we get back more than one, which is what we want. There isn't really an arrange section, and then what we have is an assert are equal. We expect that the text to match the line. Right? I think what we're going to do is we're just going to start grabbing. I think I'm just going to duplicate this all the way across, right? Nope, 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 undo. So let's see. Let's actually grab, how far can we get away with? It's probably, that's probably too much, right? So this is a horrible way to do unit testing, but we call it trial and error. Somewhere in this vicinity I expect it to pass, right? So ding, 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 ding. And we'll just keep shrinking. Just keep shrinking, just keep shrinking. Oh, this guy is probably not going to return the extra white line. We'll do the white line. We'll do the white line case in a second. And something akin to that, right? Let's see here. I might keep that. We might want it for multiple ones. Public void get lines splits into multiple lines, right? So this is just going to be a straight up, right? Grab this whole thing for our text. So string boom. Nice long block of text. We'll put the comments back in. Range act assert. So string lines gets line splitter get lines text to array. Extra points for spelling. Okay. And then is it collection assert? I think. Yep. R equal. So we need to do up some amount of building of this. Compare it to lines, right? Good. Test properly fails. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this guy and see where the failure is. And this is not a great way of doing it because we're basically a different number of elements. Okay, so let's just grab it here and look at what the split looks like. Because I think this will probably get us pretty close. So there's a bunch of stuff inside of this line splitter that we aren't testing right now. So let's see. I wish there was an can I just do this? Yes, I can. Boom. Where'd my immediate window go? Come back. Thanks. That's what I needed. Grab you. Copy. Paste. Right? So, let's see. Block edit. Ding, 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 ding. And then we just need commas on all of these. And in theory, this is basically a pinning unit test to pin the existing functionality. Normally we would have wanted to write these ahead of time and verify the failure and to pass, etc., etc., etc. But for now, we're only pinning for the idea that when we make changes in the future, I want to make sure this lines up. Okay. So that's probably good enough for now. That's good enough for what we need. Okay, back to our main window view model. Now this is where it's going to start getting interesting. So let's first clear up a little bit of those. That keystroke was Control RG. And I think we're gonna get rid of this checked because it doesn't matter. We're gonna get rid of all of these commented code because it doesn't matter. We're gonna get rid of all of these. because they don't matter. I think what we want to do at some point we probably want to deal with this problem, right? Don't know if this makes a big difference, but let's go through. We're probably leaking a little bit because this guy has a task. That's right, this guy had a TCS for actually going through and clearing this up. I don't think we need to do this. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do this, right? And we're going to come up here, and if recognizer is speech if we name it the same, then we just paste here and change all of these to minuses, right? So insert minus, 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 minus. And actually, while we're in here, we'll leave canceled around, but I don't think we need these ones, right? We're only really using a few of these, so let's make our life easier. So we don't need this, don't need this, don't need this. Which means all of these zero referenced methods just fall right off the food chain. Great. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Now we're getting something that looks a little better. Okay. Oh, fine. Object match pattern. You can be happy, resharper. I can't decide if I actually like this better or worse. It feels weird. It feels very weird. Nullability of type does not match the target delegate event handler. Of types in parameter. Use. So hold on, are you? So let's pick on this one. Are you complaining because you want this? Oh, because object sender could be null? Is that the whole complaint there? Okay. That makes sense. One moment. Okay, so throw that guy away too, right? Okay, so that cleans up those warnings. That cleans up those warnings. Everyone's happy. What's this warning down here? Function never returns. Yep, that's a problem. We should fix it. Okay, but we'll come back to this. So right now what we want to do is set up so that we can test these recognizers. And the problem is this guy is not going to be an easy thing to unit test. All right? So ultimately what we need to do is put him away in a factory somewhere, I think. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Let's see. And honestly, we could take all of the region and the region language out of the view model. Let's do that. Let's clean that up. So we're going to hide him behind an interface. So I speech recognizer. Okay. And then we'll do public class. Trying to decide the best way to go through and inject this. Do we create a factory or do we just... Because ultimately the constructors themselves are effectively static methods, which is problematic. So there's a tight coupling here. And I'm wondering if putting this guy behind an interface So first of all, this guy is going to become I, right? The first thing we need to do that I can tell right off the bat is we're going to derive from I disposable. Okay. That fixes some of it. And now obviously we have all of these events to deal with. So the question is, how do we want to interact with this thing, right? And how do we want to instantiate a new one of these when we're ready for it? I think I almost like the idea of another factory. Let's see, factory. Alright, that is dumb. Let's see here. So, and I think for now we're not going to pass anything into the factory. I think we're just going to let it do a ton of work for us, and we won't stress the small stuff. So main window view model now needs a factory. So we're going to take it as a dependency. Let's see. So let's see. Create a read-only field. Sounds great. Check parameter for null. Sounds great. So that means down here, rather than passing this config, what we're going to do is speech recognition factory, get recognizer, right? And then this should no longer be a var because that is not clear. And these curly braces, I think those are left over from an old using in the original code. So there's that. I'm wondering if this should be async. Nah, don't do it till we need it. Don't do it till we need it. So now we actually need two implementations of this guy, right? And I will explain. I tend to really like the port adapter simulator unit test pattern. So let's see, port adapter simulator. There is a wonderful blog post here. It's a little old, but no less relevant. That goes over this pattern here. It's very similar to if anybody's used mocks, you can almost imagine that sort of style here, except for the problem with mocks is that in your unit test you've got no assertions that your mock has been set up to behave like a real instance, right? So there's bugs that always creep past your mocks. It's like, well, I unit tested this, so it's like, well, your mock is set up one way, but the real thing doesn't behave that way. So in the port adapter simulator pattern, rather than using mock objects, you actually write multiple implementations. A real implementation, and then a simulator implementation. And ideally, if possible, you run a set of unit tests against both implementations to verify that one is a good replacement for the other. Liskop's substitution principle, for those people familiar with Solid. Basically, unit testing to ensure that you actually have two implementations that conform to the same interface and behave the same way. But obviously, one would be backed by a real service, one would not. And so once you're confident that your unit testing one is a good replacement, you can use it in all your unit tests and it'll behave in a nice, consistent manner for you. Okay, with that said, we've got this. So let's go speech recognizer factory. We got to build us one of these, right? And for now, let's see, public class speech recognizer factory. And for now, in the interest of just testing the view model, we're going to hard code a whole bunch of stuff, right, just to make this thing work. So first of all, we're going to take these two things out. This is now a factory concern, not anything else. So these guys are just going to hang out here for now. Let's see here. So those guys go away. This whole config thing, this is an implementation detail. So those go into here, right? So implement, And then we're going to return a new speech recognizer config. So we need an implementation of iSpeech recognizer. And for this, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to do a nested class. Thinking we just do not sold on this, but for now it will do. It will do. Let's see. So if we hurry up and do this and take in a speech recognizer, boom, boom, boom. All right, and then this guy, implement, check parameter for null. This guy here, delegate implementation to backing field. Yeah, great, thanks. Recognizer, new speech recognizer wrapper. Don't know why it duplicated that for me, but thank you. Okay, so not great, but at least gets us where we're going, right? So move this out, and then rather than declaring this straight up in our XAML, we are going to get rid of this because this is not going to work anymore. And we'll just do it in our code behind for now. So let's see, clean that up. Let's see, data context gets new main window view model, new speech recognizer factory. So we're going to pass the real implementation here, and obviously in our instantiation of this in our unit test, we are not going to do that. That would be bad. Okay, so there's that. There's that. Huh. I just noticed my subtitles are hung and haven't been updating this whole time. Interesting. Oh, I know why. Because my Streamlabs thing is pointed at a different output file. Well, let's fix that real quick, right? Done. There we go. At some point, there's an SDK for Streamlabs that I'm thinking would let me edit these things from this tool, which would be very convenient. Very, very convenient. Okay, so yeah, you be happy. You sit there. Okay, so we got that. We got that. Probably clean some of these things up. Maybe change a couple APIs on this to make it a little less ugly. Okay, so we got a factory. Factory needs a couple more members, or I should say this guy needs members. Create method. So this is going to be a task. Start continuous. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to hide this and call it start recognition. Right? Make it, because we're now in control of this, right? We get to do this what I want. And I think what we're going to do in the interest of yeah, we're going to kill off the canceled stuff. Right? Because canceled, as we saw before, there's no way to cancel client side. So we're just going to have these two things. So let's see. Speech recognizer factory has the implementation. So you implement return speech recognizer, start continuous recognition async, configure await false, return await, async, boom. I guess we don't need the return, and you can offer me the Lambda body opportunity. To expression body. Thank you. Something more like that. Okay, so that works. We were going to grab the. Let's going to look real quick at the callbacks here. I'm wondering if we hide away these actual implementations. I think we do. And I think we do something really ugly for the moment. So we only have recognize and recognizing. So event handler string. Will you let me get away with that? Recognizing. This is a horrible way to abuse this, but again, going to get it tested, and then, or I should say, we're going to get unit tests written, and then we'll go through and clean this up. Probably not tonight, but so string text. Oh wait, this is string text and object throwaway. Technically sender. Boom. And so then this just becomes text. We'll basically just unwrap this guy. Love that it lets me get away with that. Okay, so more cleanup there, more cleanup there. Everyone's happy. No, we're going to clean some of you up here in a minute. You'll notice the tests aren't running because of this constructor change. I guarantee it's blocking the compile on the... Yeah, I understand. You're unhappy. You're not compiling. We'll fix you in a minute. Let's see. So here we need to implement a couple members. All right. So we've got a couple events. It's great. I think what we do is just down here we do speaks to recognizer recognizing plus equals this. Boom, boom. And then recognizing null safe, and then we'll do, I think this, result.text, expression body that guy. Thanks. This doesn't need to be overly fancy. And you're unhappy because nullable. Right. Let's see. Recognized. We need. We'll just preempt it. Let's see. Recognized. Invoke this. E.result text. Right. And once again, nullable. Make you happy. At some point, I'm going to go flip on the warnings as errors stuff just to annoy me into fixing all of them. But that is not the current task. So start command. Oh, you don't think it's ever invoked. That is because we did not set up our design time data context. Let's see. Data context, right? Let's see. Design instance type gets main window view model. Design time creatable is false. So this just gives a hint to the IntelliSense to tell it what our view model type is, but tells it don't try to create one, you're not going to be able to. So, and now it's happier about that because it knows that it's used. So it's just the method that's not looping down there. Okay, so that gets us all there. That gets that all working. Let's go back to our unit test. All right. So what we have down here is this is not going to work. So one, get recognizer needs to return an iSpeech recognizer, which is very different. And how about a public static iSpeech recognizer factory, get recognizer factory, right? So we're going to new up a couple new thingies in here. So public class speech recognizer factory, and I usually let's go and do this slightly differently, because I usually create a simulator's namespace. I'm not sold on this organization, but because I tend to name my simulator implementations exactly matching my real ones, it just helps me disambiguate which one I'm talking about. So let's see, that guy there is going to need some members. Great. Public class speech recognizer. By the end of this, I will learn how to spell it. Hopefully I haven't made too many spelling mistakes. Boom. Okay, so those need to implement, but this guy is going to return a new speech recognizer. Great. So, nope, not what I wanted. Expression body. Okay, so that makes the factory easy. Return new simulators. That's the one I want. Right? Return new. And actually, you know what I think I want to do is I want this guy to just get recognizer factory, get recognizer. I don't want this thing. I don't want to duplicate any logic. Okay, so back over here. So this becomes factory, get factory. That gets that going. I think that should unblock the unit tests. Let's see here. There. Just build. I'm kind of wondering if I gotta re-kick this into gear. I think it just picks up once you can start recompiling. Build succeeded. Let's turn live unit tests back on. Apparently, at a certain point, it just gives up on me. Okay. Covered by one test. Hey, look at that. We've already got failing tests. And I'm guessing speech recognizer disposed. So these guys we got to actually build out. Speech recognizer factory, speech recognizer. So move you over, please. Okay, so the dispose method I think we just don't do anything with, right? Because there's nothing to do with here. I think what I would like to do though is private. Well, no, because the goal is for this thing to behave identically to the real one, which isn't going to quite be the case, but we'll make it work. Trying to decide of a good way of generating out text. I think the simplest implementation is, let's see, don't we have this guy? Yeah. Great, we've got some text right here. Okay, so we're going to have this guy just sort of start. Once this starts, task.run, right? We're going to just get this guy going, and he's going to fire stuff off and make the events go. Let's see here. Actually, let's wrap this up a little nicer. Private task simulate text. Okay, so this guy is literally just going to return simulate text. Actually, let's do this. There. Cleaner. Okay, so we need something to append to, so how about a private string builder All right. Current text. It's new string builder. All right. Private string get next word. For now, you're just going to return an empty string, but that'll need to be implemented. And then, so our simulate text is going to be how do we want to do this? I feel like if we just randomly grab words, we'll just do it in a group of. Well, let's see, how big is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's clever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, in the realm of, I don't know, 15, 16 words. So, constant word count gets 16. Probably can be smarter. So I think what we're going to do is async task, right? For int I, or actually I guess we do this. For each string word in enumerable range. So start at 0, give me word count. Right? So current text appends a, oh, this needs to actually select, throw away, get next word, right? We might go through and pass the index in a minute. So we're going to add a word, and sure, we need to add a space, append, and I think, yeah, just do that. And then I think this is, we raise recognizing here, invoke this current text to string. Right, so lots of string copying that's going to happen, but whatever. And then at the very end, we will do recognized, invoke this current text to string, current text clear. We'll go back and do it all over again. So this guy needs to be null checked, and then we need to have some way of cleaning this guy up and stopping him. And right now our stopping gets triggered by this dispose method. So I am thinking something like a cancellation token maybe. So let's do cancellation token source. How's it? That one. CTS cancel, right? Boom. Gets new cancellation token source. I'm not sure. Do we actually need to set this? I don't think so. I think the implication is that we're only going to do this one at a time. So var token gets CTS token, and token gets put here, and we're going to just pass it down into simulate text token, right? Put that in there. because I think something else we're going to do down here. Hey, what are you doing? Catch up to me. So I think what we do is we wrap this guy. So while token is cancellation requested, so if you haven't stopped, keep looping, right? So that guy's going to run. Yeah, I'm sure resharper caused a hang. What a shock. Okay, so then we'll wait, test, delay, I don't know, 100 milliseconds. Kind of debating whether we want the delay in here or not, because this is for the purposes of testing, so might not need nor want it. Alright, so this, I think this is just going to go void real quick. There's no point in making it more complicated than it needs to be. So this guy goes here. If, how about, let's just do this. Token throw of cancellation request. Okay, so back to our lorem ipsum text, right? So we got this guy. Actually, let's do this. Let's just go I numerable string. Get words. And then this becomes a lot simpler. This just is get words, right? And then we'll have this guy limit it to just word count, and we'll make this an infinite enumerable. Right, so while true, boom. Let's open up code real quick, because ultimately what we want to do is not have that open. Okay, so there's all our text, right? So let's search on white space. Right, and we'll replace white space with a new line. Oh, that's more like what I want. So replace long list of words. Great. So find the beginning character, replace with a quote. Do it. Okay. Find the end of the string, replace with quote comma. Do it. Okay. Oh, we actually want at the beginning of the string, we want to find yield return place. Great. Yay, regex coding. So we're just going to dump all that in. Oh, not quite what we wanted. So let's go back. What we want to find is comma end, right? And we'll replace with semicolon. Now, copy, come back over here, undo, paste. That looks better. And we'll just let this guy go. Be an infinite enumerable that will just chug through all those words, spew them out. Okay. That, I think, probably gets us closer. And let's see here. You can be static. Wonderful. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. You claim yellow. Why are you yellow? Oh, because this thing never returns, right? Okay, fine. We'll just send the token in, right? We'll make it happy. It'll make it think that it has an exit point. It's never going to hit it. I should say it's unlikely to hit it. But whatever. Now it's happy. Okay, so now we have all of this work, all this so that we can just start unit testing this beast. Right, so let's go back over here. So the thing that we actually want to unit test, close, is the onStart method, right? So onStart should do a couple things. It should set the recognizer, and it should register for events and call start recognizing. So we probably want to change up our simulator a little bit so that we have some control over it. Otherwise it's just going to repeatedly fire off the same stuff over and over and over and over and over. But for now this will be a good start. So test method, public void on start, creates recognizer, right? So we'll go down this path. So this guy here gets a factory, great. We're gonna say start command gets executed and is not null on the recognizer, right? Boom. Unit test now passes. It does what we would all hope for. I am wondering if... That's fine. This guy falls out of scope. That falls out of scope. There's no references. Everything gets garbage collected. Okay. Not a problem. Okay, so let's see about testing this here too. Because, right? So the next thing that we really want to verify is... one, that once we call start, as this recognizer is firing stuff off, like for example, we want to verify that the pending text is working. So let's give ourselves some means of handling this. And I think the simplest way to do this is just to have this guy taken in the enumerable, right? I think that's probably the easiest. So let's look at that. What would that look like? So this guy takes in an IEnumerable of string words, right? And introduce that. We allow for null, right? So we're going to make it nullable. Oh, nullable's probably not turned on here, is it? Let's turn that on. Nullable, enable. Is it enable or enabled? Enable. Okay. We're going to just private that guy up. Let's see here. So this guy down here for simulate text. So he's either going to... We're just going to do something around here, right? I'm kind of wondering if, for the purposes of this, we wrap the whole thing, right? Let's see, what is this? So, words, boom, boom. Too many closing parens, right? Yeah, so if they've specified, we'll iterate through them all, and then we'll bail. Yeah, and then it should call right. So the caller then is in control of this. Great. Okay, so let's give ourselves access to this. We've taken it in here. Let's see, what is it saying? Non-nullable, recognizing. Oh, well, events are certainly nullable, right? Those are legit. So this guy here, this factory. Enumerable of string words get set, right? We'll let that thing flow. We'll just pass it through here. Everyone can be happy. This guy can be public. I think we're gonna let's see, enumerable of string words, we're gonna let him be optional, which means that goes nullable. Words gets words. What are you? Words may be all here, possible no reference. Nope, that's just because that should be declared like that. Okay, and clean that up. Okay, so now let's go back to our test. So this guy we know works. On recognizing. I cannot spell that to save my life. On recognizing populates, we would call it current text, pending text. Pending text. And how about rather than populate, sets is just as clear, and it's so sets, right? So our assertion is going to be R equal foo VM pending text, which I think I kind of want to have this be params string, right? Like that. Right. So it's failing, which begs the question, why? Actual null, sets pending text. So start command, possibly a timing thing, because this is a task.run, right? So we have to do something different here. We could wait for the property changed, but oh, I always hate those. There's always timing bugs around those. We could make this guy run synchronously. Maybe that's the better solution here, right? Simulate text, return task, completed task. What's going on? Something hung? I'm wondering if that... Oh! Right, because this thing's going to run forever. In the case where I don't pass text, it's just going to keep going and going, going. So this guy should not be an infinite enumerable. Right? This guy... There, that should get that out of the infinite running state. Stop and relaunch. I think that'll get it back. What are you doing? So output test explorer. Which one of you are hung? Why is it hung? Let's see. Speech recognizer comes in, simulates text. Start recognition async comes in. Raise. I guess we don't even need the token anymore, do we? We can literally just iterate across all of these things. Timeout. Okay, so let's clean some of this up, right? So this goes away, this goes away, this goes away. So this shouldn't throw anymore, this shouldn't throw anymore. Don't actually even need, don't even really need the token. Don't need the task, don't need any of this. Okay. Oh, this ain't gonna fly. Okay, so that gets us closer. Oh, this is... Because we changed this thing to a params, this is actually broken now. So you shouldn't check it. So only if words.any do we set words, otherwise we set null, right? Cert R equal failed. Okay, so this guy is not doing what we expect. Perfect. So now we figure out why. So this guy's registered. Start recognition async. So recognizing event handler. And maybe we just pick it up in here. So test explorer. Stop. Debug. We'll see what is going on here. Okay, so it comes in. Words has a single word. No, don't care. That is our word. We append. We invoke our event. Oh. Okay, so there's a space on the end that we didn't account for. Oh, and then we call recognized. Oh. Which recognized is going to clear our pending text. Okay, I didn't want to have to do it, but apparently I'm going to have to. So I have code that handles this already. Because I don't really want to change it to try to grab it partway through. But these bindable properties like this, the simple way to test getting started WPN unit testing easier. This one. So for those people who are interested, blog post I wrote. What you can do is on the iNotify property changed, you can grab. I think there's a link at the bottom of this. Complete implementation. Let's see. Property changed helper. I think this is what I want. You can just watch the property change notifications and record the values that come up. Let's see. So in our case, we can just watch the pending text and validate that we actually see the stuff come through that we want. So change the namespace. Okay. And we'll just basically watch all of these and record them. So we'll change our test up here, right? So let's see, VM watch property changes of type string. We're looking for name of main window view model pending text, right? Var pending text changes. So this guy here is actually of type I property changed. But what we can do is rather than validating this, we'll switch over and go with collection assert. And I will assert that the values I expect this thing to go between are foo and then null, right? And so then rather than checking this, what I end up checking is pending text changes. To array. So now run the test. We should see those both come through. Right, so element at index 0 don't match. Well, that's not horribly helpful. What is the element at index 0? Just telling me they don't match does not give me any information. Okay, so this guy here, F5 pending text. This is probably the extra space at the end. So this guy here should be that, right? Now it passes. Huzzah! Okay. At some point we probably want to deal with this extra space, but whatever. Okay, so that gives us that. What other things are we interested in? So we validated both this line and this line in here. This is going to be another problematic area, right? Because we've got something adding into these subtitle lines, but we've got no watchers on this to know to be able to actually check it. I think for now it's getting a little late. I'm going to commit what I have. So, oh yeah, unstage all changes. So let's start with this tree. Stage, stage, stage. The remove me is not what we want to stage. And we'll just kind of briefly stat check all of these, but I think all of these are fine. I think all of that is fine as well. Let's just launch it real quick to make sure it still runs. And I'm not sure how it works when you've got two instances going, but apparently it works just fine. Cool. So we do technically have two instances of this thing, which is quite awesome. Great. Great, great, great. So that works. So it runs, unit test pass. Starting work on unit testing. Great. Commit, push. We'll get that out there, and it now runs. So For anyone who made it through the entire stream, thank you very much for coming and hanging out. Again, I figured this was just going to be an ad hoc thing because I was planning on sitting out here and coding anyway. Ooh, NuGet Kraken. Yes. Love NuGet Krakens. Sweet. Looks like a bug fix update. Awesome. I approve. So yeah, again, I'm really just building this tool out for me. If anyone else thinks that they might find it useful and would like to see something added in, some like more official distribution, let me know in the comments. That would be great. For now, I'm going to say signing off. For people who are interested in my regular stream, I am planning on picking up Thursday. Because I'm on vacation, there may be a bunch of just kind of random ad hoc streams where I stream whatever I'm working on because that's what I'm interested in doing. So with that, I will sign off. And for those of you who celebrate it, Merry Christmas.